Hello, and thank you for joining HydroPoint Data Systems today for this recorded distributor product release training designed to give our distribution partners a quick update on the newest product in the WeatherTrack family of controllers. Today we plan to share with you some exciting news about the newest member of our commercial line, or Pro Series controllers, the WeatherTrack ET Pro3. Today's meeting is designed to update our preferred distribution partners about the new WeatherTrack ET Pro3, including the product information highlighting the updated features that distinguish the ET Pro3 from its predecessor, the ET Pro2. Then we will discuss the components and steps necessary to upgrade a Pro2 Smart Water Manager into an ET Pro3. And finally, we will discuss pricing and how to order the new WeatherTrack ET Pro3. The clearest way to define the new ET Pro3 is to compare it to the controller it is replacing in the WeatherTrack family of products, the ET Pro2. First, let's define the many similarities between the two products. The ET Pro3 is simply the next evolution of the WeatherTrack commercial controller, so the number of similarities between the two products far outnumber the differences. For example, both products carry the WaterSense label, proving that both meet the highest EPA standards of water management. The Pro3 will continue to maximize water savings by using the same proven scheduling engine and the same WeatherTrack ET Everywhere that calculates ET accurate to the square kilometer. The Pro3 will offer the same high level of protection to properties by using the built-in alarm and analysis tools. The Pro3 will continue to improve the efficiency of the on-site maintenance teams by providing industry-leading tools like WeatherTrack Mobile. The Pro3 will follow in the legacy of the Pro2 by being easy to install and use, and giving our online access to our users as soon as the controller has been installed and activated. The Pro3 will give our customers the highest quality central control at the lowest cost of ownership, with no need for weather stations or designated phone or data cables. And the Pro3 will continue to be supported by our 6-day-a-week bilingual customer support team, in addition to the pre-sales and implementation support our distributors have come to depend on from our sales, product specialist, and hydroanalytics teams. In short, while the Pro3 is a new member of the WeatherTrack family of controllers, it is merely the next step in the evolution of the best water management solution in the industry. Another way that the new WeatherTrack ET Pro3 is the same as the ET Pro2 is the specifying information. This is important to anyone who has sold the Pro2 and plans to sell the Pro3. Just like the Pro2, the Pro3 is available in station configurations that range from 12 to 48 stations in 6-station increments. The Pro3 is also available in the same mounting configurations as the Pro2. So there's the wall mount, the pedestal mount, and the chassis mount controllers. All of this is to say that as a WeatherTrack sales partner, you can think of the Pro3 in the same context as you did the Pro2. Now that we have had a quick look at the similarities, let's examine the features that will define the WeatherTrack ET Pro3 by highlighting its differences from the ET Pro2. Specifically, the differences in the controller interface, where you will see a new push-button command module and a new feature-rich display. And we are excited to announce the new enhancements to our flow monitoring capabilities. Let's have a look at the controller hardware and compare the new ET Pro3 to the ET Pro2 that you're already familiar with. The first thing you'll notice when you look at the WeatherTrack ET Pro3 is the new look of the controller command module, specifically that the 3-knob interface of the ET Pro2 has been replaced by a push-button interface. The new design of the command module allows us to increase the controller's computing power, memory, and communication speed. The new design also increases our field durability by providing a water-resistant panel with capacitive touch buttons just like the WeatherTrack LC. While this dramatically changes the look of the ET Pro3, it will only subtly change controller navigation. For years, we have trained that the way to navigate through the information on the Pro2 was to think of the big knob in the center as your menu knob, think of the upper knob as your question knob, and think of your lower knob as your answer knob. So the way to do anything on the Pro2 was to find the correct menu, then find the correct question, then find the correct answer. It was easy as 1, 2, 3. The Pro3 is the very same software as the Pro2, so you'll already know the sequence of menus, questions, and answers that you'll find. The process is even the same. However, with the Pro3, the buttons on the left represent the menus, and they're even titled the same as they were on the Pro2. So the navigation of the Pro3 begins with finding the correct menu. Then you move forward and backward through the questions using the arrow buttons, and up and down through the answers using the plus and minus buttons. Again, 1, 2, 3. Again, this is the identical process as we used on the WeatherTrack LC, and the feedback we have received shows that because the process is the same and the menus are the same, that it is a simple transition for an experienced WeatherTrack user to switch from knobs to buttons. The other enhancement to the new command module is the enhanced display. With the WeatherTrack ET Pro 2, we had the 3-line display that allowed you to navigate through the questions and answers that the programming process required. With the new WeatherTrack ET Pro 3, we have expanded to a 5-line display. The screen-specific data that you're accustomed to seeing on the Pro 2 will fill the middle 3 lines of the display. But now we have added a header line that will constantly show 2 things. 1, the current time, and 2, the menu and screen number that you're on. This will simplify the troubleshooting process when either you are helping your customer or your customer is on the phone with the WeatherTrack customer service team. We have also added a footer line that will always display any stations or programs that are currently running and the updated communication status. Finally, the Pro 3 display is backlit, so you won't need a flashlight to see the controller display in the boiler room anymore. Now let's discuss the flow feature enhancements. In the past, with the WeatherTrack ET Pro 2, the flow features came standard. That meant that with every Pro 2 controller, you had the ability to attach a flow sensor and master valve setup. When added, these allowed you to capture flow data from every station configuration ranging from 12 to 48 stations and use that information for alerts, reports, and budget management features. Here's the important part. With the WeatherTrack ET Pro 3, the flow features come standard. That means with every Pro 3 controller, you have the ability to attach a flow sensor and master valve setup. When added, these will allow you to capture flow data for every station configuration ranging from 12 to 48 stations, and use that information for alerts, reports, and budget management features. That's right. The base model flow features are identical for both the Pro 2 and Pro 3 models. This is a feature that's worth overstating because the new flow enhancements are an option for the advanced level flow monitoring. But the new features do not change the flow features that come with the base model Pro 3. However, in addition, the Pro 3 has an optional enhancement that enables you to monitor flow on a more advanced system on any controller that has a minimum of at least 36 stations. By purchasing a second flow key and attaching it to the second C-board on the chassis, you unlock the ability of the Pro 3 to handle the information and operation of a second flow sensor and master valve setup. This new feature will allow you to use the flow features on a system that has 2 points of connection, or a looped mainline, without the addition of any confusing third-party products. When you go to wire up the second master valve and flow sensor setup, it is important to understand the differences between the Pro2 and the new Pro3 controller. With the Pro2, the WeatherTrack had the ability to run 7 outputs at the same time. This allowed us to run a pump, a master valve, all 4 controller programs, and a manual program at the same time. With the new Pro3, we now have the ability to run 8 outputs at the same time. This covers all of the previously mentioned stations, plus the new second master valve. While the Pro2 never had a supported second flow sensor and master valve terminal, when the second flow key is added, the new Pro3 has the ability to support both a second master valve and a second flow sensor to open the door to significantly more challenging flow configurations. Here's the best part. The picture for both of these is the same. Because the Pro3 is the next step in the WeatherTrack evolution, it is built on the same framework as the Pro2 Smart Water Manager. In fact, it uses the same chassis, the same transformer, the same enclosure, even the same antenna. The only completely new component in the Pro3 is the new command module. So what are these enhanced flow features? If you have ever been trained in WeatherTrack flow monitoring, you are undoubtedly familiar with the phrase single controller, single point of connection. Until now, this has defined the optimal system configuration for successful WeatherTrack flow monitoring. And while there were workarounds to expand those capabilities, they often included expensive third-party devices that made the controller installation more complex and more time-consuming. Now let's discuss the steps involved in the product upgrade plan. If your customer currently has a WeatherTrack Smart Water Manager, they will have a controller chassis that looks like this. To properly connect the new command module to the Smart Water Manager chassis, the upgrade will require the addition of an adapter that will attach to the chassis in 3 separate locations. This is a detailed process that will need to be completed at the factory. So your customer will need to send their existing chassis to us as part of the upgrade process. The upgrade process usually requires that the chassis be at the factory for 3 business days, plus days to ship back and forth, so please plan accordingly. Here we have an example of what a completely upgraded chassis will look like. Note, the Pro3 adapter is in place, as well as the optional second flow key that has been attached to the second C-board. Please also notice the difference in appearance between the station keys and the second flow key. Once the controller chassis update is complete, the adapter will make it possible to connect the new Pro3 command module, complete with enhanced display and the new capacitive touch button panel. Once the chassis update is complete and the command module has been replaced, we mount all of the components back inside the same enclosure and attach the same transformer and antenna. Then the upgrade from Pro2 Smart Water Manager to ET Pro3 is complete. For pricing to upgrade an existing Pro2 Smart Water Manager to an ET